Have you ever wondered who's really on the other end of the line? Behind every call, every message, every connection, lies a fascinating story. The story of AT&T, a company that shaped modern communications, for better and for worse. Origin of the brand. Let's rewind to the late 19th century. An inventor named Alexander Graham Bell had just revolutionized the world with his telephone. In 1877, the Bell Telephone Company was born. The dream, to connect everyone through voice. But Bell wasn't alone. Gardner Hubbard, his father-in-law, a shrewd lawyer, saw the commercial potential of the invention. He was the true driving force behind the company. The context was favorable. The Industrial Revolution was in full swing. The need to communicate remotely was growing exponentially. The telegraph was no longer enough. The human voice had to travel. The early years were a constant battle. Competitors sprang up like mushrooms, trying to replicate Bell's technology. But the Bell Telephone Company had a crucial advantage: Bell's patents. Hubbard, with his legal vision, made sure to defend them tooth and nail. The biggest obstacle, however, was public distrust. Many saw the telephone as a passing fad, an expensive toy. Who would want to talk to someone remotely when they could simply write a letter? The company had to prove the value of its invention, to convince people that the telephone was an indispensable tool. A breakthrough moment was the creation of the first telephone exchanges. Small offices where operators manually connected calls. This made the telephone much more practical and accessible. People began to see the real potential of instant communication, growth and expansion. In the early 20th century, the Bell Telephone Company transformed into American Telephone and Telegraph Company, or AT&T. Under the visionary leadership of Theodore Vail, the company adopted a bold strategy: the monopoly. Vail believed that telephone service should be universal, and that only one company could guarantee it. AT&T bought out its competitors, invested heavily in research and development, and built a telephone network that spanned the entire country. The company became an unstoppable giant, with unprecedented power and influence. Innovations such as rotary dialing, transatlantic cables, and automatic switching systems revolutionized communications. AT&T also invested in the research of new materials and technologies, such as the transistor, which laid the foundation for modern electronics. The AT&T logo, a bell inside a circle, became an omnipresent symbol in American life. It represented connection, modernity, and technological prowess. Brand myth or legend. But AT&T's power was not without controversy. Over the years, rumors and urban legends have emerged about the company. One of the most persistent is the theory that AT&T secretly controlled the information that flowed through its telephone lines. It was said that the company spied on the conversations of politicians, activists, and celebrities. That it had the ability to censor or manipulate the information transmitted over its networks. There was even talk of a secret room in its facilities where all calls were listened to. Truth or fiction? The existence of this conspiracy has never been proven. But the myth persists, fueled by distrust of corporate power and paranoia about government surveillance. The reality is that AT&T collaborated with intelligence agencies on certain occasions, but the idea of mass and systematic surveillance remains an unfounded rumor. Current situation. Today, AT&T is a very different company than it was in the 20th century. After a series of mergers, acquisitions and spin-offs, the company has diversified into the world of entertainment, media and technology. AT&T owns Warner Media, the parent company of HBO, CNN, and Warner Brothers. It has become a multimedia communications giant, competing with companies like Disney, Netflix, and Amazon. The Bell logo has disappeared. Now, AT&T uses an abstract logo, representing connectivity and innovation. The company seeks to reinvent itself in a constantly changing digital world. The story of AT&T is the story of modern communication. A story of innovation, power and controversy. A story that reminds us that technology can be a powerful tool, but it can also be used for less noble purposes. Because sometimes, behind a simple logo, there is a whole story that few know. Were you surprised by the story of AT&T? Subscribe to our channel and leave us a comment. Tell us what you thought of this story and what other brand you would like us to investigate.